Welcome to Business 360. I'm Archana Solanki. Here are the headlines we're tracking this evening. Sensex and Nifty end in the red as the F&O contracts for August expire. Financials drag the markets, but mid-caps buck the trend. Fat finger trades in NiftyBank put options at a 90% discount early this month leaves derivative trade surprised and concerned. Many wonder how the freak order bypassed the National Stock Exchange's limit price protection. Adani Group stocks lose 25,000 crore rupees in market capitalization after a new investigative report claims Adani family secretly invested in its own shares. Adani Group rubbishes what it calls recycled allegations, says the claims are based on cases that have closed a decade ago. Q1 GDP growth seen as 7.9% according to a CNBC-TV18 poll, largely due to base effect. Agriculture growth is expected to be strong at over 4%. Construction, trade and hotels also likely to post robust growth. Market regulator SEBI's probe into the Axis Bank Max Life share deal is in advanced stages. Sources say that SEBI is examining the valuation discrepancies between the two transactions and the likely loss to public shareholders. That's an exclusive. E-shram Motors Managing Director Siddharth Lal says they are not in a tearing hurry to launch an EV. Adds that they expect to launch a Royal Enfield EV by 2025. Lal says the company already has EVs in various stages of development, but they want to test and refine them further. Air India stares at pilot simulator training backlog that could lead to possible de-rostering of pilots. This after DGCA temporarily suspends training at its Mumbai and Hyderabad facilities. Sources say the airline plans to send pilots who are due for mandatory recurrent training to Singapore and Bangkok to keep operations going. The government convenes a special session of Parliament from 18 to 22nd of September. BJP sources say discussions on India's G20 presidency could be on agenda. Leaders of the opposition grouping India are in Mumbai for their third meeting. Leaders are expected to deliberate on election strategy among other issues. The logo of the alliance is expected to be unveiled tomorrow. The Union government tells the Supreme Court that it's ready to conduct elections in Jammu and Kashmir, adds that the Election Commission and the Union Territory Administration would decide on its timing. Also tells that court that it can't give an exact timeline for J&K's statehood restoration. Chinese President Xi Jinping likely to skip the G20 summit in India next month. Reuters reports that China's premier is likely to attend the summit in his place. Also on the show, 2 years have passed since the launch of E-shram portal, a national database of unorganized workers to identify and provide social security benefits. None of the promises have become reality. A special report is up next. All right, let's start with the day's market action. A volatile session on expiry day saw the Nifty and Sensex end with cuts of 0.25%. Financials continue to be a drag on the Nifty, with the NiftyBank slipping over 0.5%. However, mid-caps bucked the trend, ending mildly higher. Meanwhile, the Nifty posted losses of 2% in the series for the first time since March, while the mid-cap index rose 5%. All right, here's some news that has left derivative traders in India puzzled and concerned. A bunch of fat finger trades in NiftyBank put options at a 90% discount has managed to bypass the National Stock Exchange's limit price protection. This incident happened on the 11th of August. Santosh Nair is here with the details. Santosh, for the benefit of our viewers, could you help us understand what exactly happened? And my second question, why did the NSE safeguarding mechanism not prevent this?
Thanks, Archana. Well, as to the first question as to what exactly has happened. So on August 11th, there were a set of trades at a very sharp discount in the Bank Nifty 45,700 put options. Now, the prevailing premium at that time was about 1,300 rupees, but these trades happened at 90 rupees. That's a huge discount to the prevailing price. So it seems to be a case of fat finger, or an erroneous trading entry, as it is called in market parlance. So the speculation is that most likely the traders who put through that trade. Now, what we hear from market sources is that it was a bunch of trades done through multiple clients who were probably using the same algo strategy, and instead of selling the 45,700 call option, which was priced around 90 rupees. What they ended up was that they ended up selling the 45,700 put option at a sharp discount, but they used the reference price as that of the call options, which is why the error happened. And as to the second question, Archana, as to why did it bypass the NSE's limit price protection mechanism, this again is what we are hearing from brokers, because NSE has said that its LPP or the limit price protection mechanism is working fine. But what brokers says is that had that been a single order, probably the LPP would have rejected it. But in this case, what has happened is it has come from multiple clients using the same algo strategy. So what happened is there would have been a flood of orders at that point in time, probably leading the system to believe that these are genuine trades at the fair price, since it's coming from multiple clients. So that is one theory as to why it could have bypassed the system.
All right. Thank you so much, Santosh Nair, for that comprehensive update on this big story that we are tracking on CNBC-TV18. Moving on, oil prices rose as US government data showed tighter than expected crude supplies. Worries over Hurricane Idalia and expectations of an extension of Saudi Arabia's output cut also supported prices. However, concerns about the Chinese economy limited gains. Swiss banking giant UBS posted a second quarter profit of nearly $29 billion in its first earnings since taking over Credit Suisse. This is the biggest ever quarterly profit for a bank in the second quarter. UBS will also be laying off around 3,000 employees in Switzerland over the next few years as it fully integrates Credit Suisse. As many as 40 companies have applied for incentives under the IT hardware PLI scheme for manufacturing laptops, PCs and servers. Top laptop players HP, Dell, Acer, Lenovo are among the applicants. Apple, however, is a notable miss. The government has received proposals worth close to 23,000 crore rupees. The outlay of the scheme has been set at 17,000 crore rupees. The government expects the scheme to generate employment for 75,000 people and lead to an incremental production of 4.7 lakh crore rupees. Shares of MedPlus Health Services plunged nearly 7% after about 13% equity worth over 1,300 crore rupees changed hands in a big block deal. The deal took place at an average of 860 rupees a share. Remember, CNBC-TV18 reported earlier that early investors in the pharmacy chain, including Lavender Rose and PI Opportunities Fund, are looking to trim some stake in the company. On to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. SEBI's probe into the Axis Bank Max Life share deal is in its advanced stages. Sources have said that the market regulator is examining valuation discrepancies between the two transactions and the likely loss to shareholders. Yash Jain joins us with more details. Over to you, Yash.
Well, the case that we're talking about here is a transaction where Axis Bank intends to acquire around 20% stake in Max Life Insurance. Remember, this transaction was to be executed in two tranches. First one where a 13% stake is acquired and the balance 6.5% stake in the second tranche. Now, of course, as far as the first tranche is concerned, that transaction of acquisition of 13% stake was done at an average price of 32 rupees per share. And for the second balance part of the transaction, the price which was arrived at was at 113 rupees per share. Now, this change in the pricing of per share of Max Life was done after the insurance regulator came out, penalized both entities, Max Life and Axis Bank, and said that the revised transaction should be done at a fair market value. Now, what we've been given to understand is that market regulator SEBI is also investigating the first tranche of this transaction, that is acquisition of 13% stake. What SEBI states is that since that transaction wasn't done at a fair market value, there could have been an instance of loss of shareholder money as far as that transaction is concerned, since the parent listed company Max Financial was the selling shareholder. Just to give you a context in terms of what could have been the extent of the loss of shareholder value, as I said, 13% stake done at 32 rupees per share in the first tranche. The second tranche becomes 113 rupees per share. So the difference would give you somewhere around 1,800 crore rupees. That is the figure which market regulator SEBI would be looking at as far as its investigation is concerned.
All right. Thank you, Yash, for that update. SL Group companies have reached a settlement agreement with JC Flowers Asset Reconstruction Company. Ritu Singh joins us now with the details. Ritu, take us through the settlement plan.
That's right. We've been given to understand that Subhash Chandra-led SL Group companies have entered into a settlement agreement for their outstanding dues with JC Flowers ARC. Now remember, Yes Bank had an exposure of about 6,500 crore rupees to the SL Group companies, which was transferred to JC Flowers ARC as part of the larger NPA pool, which was transferred from the bank in December of last year. This debt was acquired at a significant discount by JC Flowers ARC, of course, but now as per the terms of the settlement, we understand that the SL Group companies have agreed to repay JC Flowers about 1,500 crore rupees, but over a period of 7 months. As part of the agreement, about 15% of these dues will be repaid in the first 30 days and the remaining spread over a period of 6 months. And in proportion to the repayment that happens, JC Flowers will be releasing the security that it holds against these loans, and that includes real estate properties, shares in Z-Learn. However, JC Flowers ARC has made it clear that the 25% stake it holds in Dish TV, which again was transferred from Yes Bank as part of the deal, will not be released by the ARC until the Subhash Chandra Group companies entirely repay the agreed amount. So a positive development as far as the settlement is concerned, but now it remains to be seen how it's executed over the next 7 months.
Thank you, Ritu, for that update. Securities regulator SEBI has proposed that registered entities should not have any association with unregistered finfluencers. The regulator's consultation paper has recommended that no confidential client information must be shared by registered entities. It also proposed that registered entities should not pay referral fees based on trailing commission. Royal Enfield may still be 24 months away from launching its first electric bike. Speaking on the eve of the launch of Royal Enfield's new Bullet 350, Eicher Motors MD Siddharth Lal said that the company is not in a tearing hurry to launch an EV. He said they expect to launch a Royal Enfield EV by 2025.
The idea is not to come out with the product quickly. The idea is to come out with an amazing product, right? So a product that will actually interest people, will change the market dynamic. So that's the idea. So firstly, there's zero delay. Our plan has always been to be out in the market in 2025 sometime. That still stands, so no delay. We're always open to partnerships, but we don't partner much. So in our last 20 years, we've not really partnered with anybody. We've done everything on our own.
The National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has issued a notice to Zee. This with regard to a plea by IDBI Bank to initiate insolvency proceeding against the firm. The bank, in its plea, has said that it was unable to recover dues worth 150 crore rupees from Zee. The NCLAT has asked Zee to respond to the matter, which will be heard on October 11th. The National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has allowed Go First Jackson Square Aviation to carry out an inspection of their grounded aircraft. This is the second lessor to get this approval after Engine Lease Finance BV last month. In the aviation space, Air India could be staring at a backlog in pilot simulator training, which could lead to possible de-rostering of pilots. This after DGCA temporarily suspends training at its Mumbai and Hyderabad facilities. Sources say the airline plans to send pilots who are due for mandatory recurrent training to Singapore and Bangkok to keep operations going. Madiha Mujahawar joins us for more. Madiha, over to you.
Well, there is no immediate impact seen on Air India's operations as of yet. What we learn from sources is that the airline is putting together a contingency plan until its Mumbai and Hyderabad facilities resume training. Sources say the airline plans to send its flying pilots who are scheduled for the recurrent training, as you mentioned, to Singapore and Bangkok so that they continue to fly. Just to quickly put things into perspective for our viewers, Air India has two facilities in India. The Mumbai facility conducts simulator training for pilots flying Boeing 787 and 777. Similarly, the Hyderabad facility conducts simulator training for pilots flying Airbus A320. Now, pilots have to undergo these recurrent fleet trainings every 6 months, without which they won't be able to fly. A number of pilots are scheduled for these simulator trainings every day throughout the year. Now coming back to the current issue now with Air India, with the two facilities not functioning, Air India could be facing a huge backlog of pilots waiting to finish their recurrent training. And since these pilots won't be able to fly without the training, it could lead to a possible de-rostering of these pilots. And if this situation persists for a long period, Air India may have to cancel flights as a large number of pilots won't be able to fly, won't be eligible to fly. A senior Air India official told CNBC-TV18 there is no impact on their operations and that the airline is taking corrective measures to address the concerns pointed out by the DGCA. The airline is expecting its facilities to be restarted soon.
Right, thank you Madiha for that update. On that note, it's time for a short break, but coming up next. 2 years have passed since the launch of E-shram portal, a national database of unorganized workers to identify and provide social security benefits. A special report when we return. Welcome back. All Adani Group stocks, barring ACC, ended in the red today. The group lost about 35,000 crore rupees in market capitalization after a new investigative report claims Adani family secretly invested in its own shares. A report by Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project published some exclusive documents including bank records and internal Adani Group emails. British publications like The Guardian and the Financial Times have also reported based on these documents. The OCCRP claimed that Nasir Ali, Shaban Ali and Chang Chung Lee funneled money into Adani stocks via investment funds based in Mauritius and made considerable profits. The report claims these two men have served as directors in some Adani companies. The Adani Group has refuted these allegations and said that these claims were based on closed cases from 10 years back when the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence carried out investigation on alleged over-invoicing and investments through FPIs, among others. Adani Group also hit out at the media outlets publishing these stories. It said, and I quote, "This is yet another concerted bid by Soros-funded interests supported by a section of the foreign media to revive the meritless Hindenburg report." End of quote.
20,000 करोड़ रुपया जो ये अडानी के शेल कंपनियों में पाए गए हैं, इसके असली मालिक कौन है, इसकी कोई जानकारी नहीं है। हमने 100 सवाल पूछे। ये अडानी का मामला नहीं है, ये मोडानी का मामला है। प्रधानमंत्री और अडानी के बीच में क्या रिश्ता है, ये असली मुद्दा है।
लोगों को डिस्ट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हैं। वो जानते हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट इस मामले में डील कर रहा है, इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहा है, उसने एक कमेटी अपॉइंट किया है। तो अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के डिसीजन भी उनको वेट करने के लिए पेशेंस नहीं है और वो अपना चलाना चाहते हैं जो भी मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन, वो चलाएं। लेकिन बाकी दुनिया को और देश को तो पता ही है कि ये मैटर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसकी जांच कर रहा है।
The Union government told the Supreme Court that it's ready to conduct elections in Jammu and Kashmir. It added that the Election Commission and the Union Territory Administration would decide on its timing. The government said that it can't give an exact timeline for J&K's statehood restoration. Chinese President Xi Jinping is likely to skip the G20 Leaders Summit, which is set to take place from 9th of September in New Delhi. A Reuters report citing sources said that Chinese Premier Li Qiang will attend the summit instead. However, both Indian and Chinese foreign ministers have neither confirmed or refuted the report. The government convenes a special session of Parliament from 18th to 22nd of September. BJP sources say discussions on India's G20 presidency could be on the agenda. Leaders of the opposition grouping India in Mumbai for their third meeting. Leaders are expected to deliberate on election strategy among other issues. The logo of the alliance is expected to be unveiled tomorrow. On the 21st of August 2021, at the time of the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, the government introduced the E-shram portal, a national database of unorganized workers. The promise registered gig workers would be eligible for a slew of social security benefits, including a 2 lakh rupee accident insurance. Now, CNBC-TV18's Rume Chakrabarti and Arundhati Ramanan report that 2 years since the program was launched, registered workers say none of the promised benefits have become reality.
E-shram पोर्टल पर पंजीकरण करने के लिए कोई पैसा भी खर्च नहीं करना है। पोर्टल पर पंजीकरण करने पर 2 लाख रुपए का बीमा भी मिलेगा। मैं आप सभी से अपील करूंगा कि जल्द से जल्द पंजीकरण को पूरा करने में और कामगारों को सामाजिक सुरक्षा और कल्याणकारी योजनाओं का लाभ दिलाने में अपना पूरा योगदान दें।
These include a pension of 3,000 rupees per month, 1 lakh rupees if a beneficiary gets a partial handicap, help in unorganized workers getting benefits from other ministries and government schemes, and accidental insurance through the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. For Sheetal Kashyap, a mother who drives a cab for Uber in Delhi, this was a godsend. But so far, she says she has not received any benefits.
जैसे कि इन लोगों ने बताया था कि हमारे अकाउंट्स में या कुछ भी ये लोग अपडेट करेंगे, हमारे अकाउंट्स में या हमें वैसे ही अभी तक कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन इसकी मिली नहीं है और न ही इसके कोई बेनिफिट्स हमें मिले अभी तक। हम लोग जाते हैं, उनसे बताते हैं और अब बोलते हैं और उसके बाद उनका कोई रिस्पांस नहीं मिलता है तो हम थक कर वापस बैठ जाते हैं।
Applying for an E-shram card is free if done directly on the portal, but applying for them through assisted mode via common service centers and SSKs comes with a 200 rupee fee. Sheetal says this is a sore point.
ये सीधा सीधा यही लग रहा है कि सरकार को हमसे ये पैसा खींचने वाली बात थी, क्योंकि हम जैसे बेवकूफी इस कार्ड को बनवाएंगे और अगर हम इस कार्ड को बना रहे हैं और 200 रुपए हम सरकार को दे रहे हैं इस कार्ड के पीछे, तो ये सोचिए कि इस 200 रुपए मैंने अकेले सिंगल ने नहीं दिया सरकार को, पता नहीं मेरे जैसे कितने लोगों ने दिया होंगे।
Sheetal is not the only one who feels this way.
In the last 2 years, close to 29 crore unorganized workers have registered on the portal and received their E-shram cards. 47% of them are male, while 53% are female. The E-shram card holders we spoke to say there is no clarity on what these benefits are or how to avail.
Many say the promise of easier access to decently paying jobs has also not materialized.
अभी रिस्पॉन्स मेरे से कुछ नहीं आया। ऐसे बोलते हैं कि कोई वर्कर भी काम के लिए देते हैं उससे, लेकिन उससे हमें कोई बेनिफिट नहीं मिला है।
Worker organizations have also helped their members register for E-shram cards. The Indian Federation of App-Based Transport Workers, for instance, says it helped 2.5 lakh members get E-shram cards. But in a few instances where cardholders met with accidents, the promised accident benefit could not be claimed.
I have 6 cases. Accidental death, some driver, some delivery boy also death recently. Process is very lengthy. No one can help. We'll wait and see. You can go the email. You can go and personal call. Okay, some toll-free number. वहाँ पे complaint करके अपना शिकायत दर्ज किया.
Gig workers also say the registration forms are complicated. The E-shram allows registration in around 400 occupations under 30 job sectors, but workers say this does not account for the fluid nature of gigs.
Multiple access, confusing access of the E-shram card. That's why slow down the E-shram card to register the gig workers.
The government, meanwhile, says it is still working on linking multiple welfare schemes with E-shram cards. Responding to CNBC-TV18's detailed questionnaire with a 2-page response that did not go into specifics, the Labour Ministry says, and I quote, Ministry of Labour and Employment has also started mapping of E-shram database with other welfare schemes. The data mapping activity with Department of Food and Public Distribution and Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana has been completed. The data mapping has revealed that about 72% E-shram registrants are having ration card and about 40% are covered in PMJAY. Further, data mapping with many other schemes is planned. End quote.
The Labour Ministry is working with a budget of 300 crore rupees for the development of the E-shram portal and says it is trying to connect states to the centralized database so that cardholders can avail state-specific social security schemes. Cardholders, on the other hand, claim that a lot more clarity is needed on this scheme, else this exercise is pointless.
As Sheetal Kashyap puts it,
मैंने इसमें 200 रुपए वेस्ट किए हैं, इसलिए मुझे ये 200 का नोट लगता है, इसलिए मैंने इसे संभाल के रखा हुआ है.
In Mumbai with Rumi Chakrabarti, this is Arundhati Ramanan.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18 for more news and updates.